everyone, welcome to my channel, and today's video is about my 4-month review of the MacBook Air 13-inch with the new M1 processor, the 2020 MacBook Air. And the reason I got this was because I was using an old MacBook Pro with a 13-inch screen, and I'd been using it for the last 10 or 11 years. And it was just got to the stage where it was stopping my workflow. I'm a stock photographer and videographer, and I use this computer to process or edit my stock photos. I also make YouTube videos, and I've been starting to make YouTube videos in 4K, so I needed something that could do that. And my old MacBook Pro just wasn't up to the job anymore. I remember going out in the field and taking photos with a Canon R5, and my MacBook Pro just couldn't edit those files in Lightroom. I needed to upgrade my Lightroom, and to do that I needed to use a new operating system on the computer, and it was impossible to upgrade my operating system, so I knew it was time to get a new computer. A couple of other reasons was it was really slow with editing and exporting video. If it was 1080 video and I had a lot of QuickTime screen recordings on the timeline above the normal 1080 footage, it took forever to render and export and also edit. I remember I did a video that was about 30 minutes long once, and it had a lot of different footage from different cameras in the timeline, and over that was also a QuickTime screen recording, and it took so long I had to leave my computer on all night for it to export the file. It was just so slow. So the old computer was just really delaying my work process and workflow. So it was a no-brainer. I waited for over a year to buy a new computer. The options for alternatives were virtually non-existent for my budget. I use Mac laptops. I don't use Windows laptops, and I did not want to go back into the Windows environment, so I was prepared to wait. Unfortunately, at the time, the only Mac alternatives available were thousands and thousands of euros for these MacBook Pros, and there was also no guarantee that they could really process these 4K files. So you could spend, you know, 3,000 or 4,000, and you still might have a slow computer when you want to process a 4K file with a lot of other stuff on it. And I wasn't prepared to pay so much money without guaranteed results. So when the M1 came out, I really started paying attention because it was advertised as being fast with editing and exporting or just using 4K footage, and it was also advertised at a low price. So I thought, bingo, this is the time to go for it. And at the time I'd made some really good sales on the stock photography sites, specifically with one photo that I sold for $600. So I started saving all of my earnings, and before too long I had saved enough to buy this MacBook Air. So for around 1,000 euros I could get a base model Mac laptop that does everything that I need. It was the base model. I didn't need to go for the MacBook Pro because I knew that the MacBook Air pretty much did everything that I needed to do. I think the MacBook Pro can do things a little bit faster and probably has one or two things that the MacBook Air doesn't, but for a lot more money. So what did I buy? Well, I bought a 13-inch MacBook Air with an 8GB memory and 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. And that cost me €1,129, brand new. I also bought a dongle, and that's a Satechi Type-C Pro hub 4K HDMI grey dongle, and with this I've got 2 USB ports, I've got 2 Thunderbolt ports for charging or putting other stuff in, and I've got a micro SD and an SD card holder, and in the end there I've got an HDMI port, and it just clicks on to the side of the Mac like this, and then I can link everything up to it and I'm good to go. So that Satechi dongle cost me €99, and I also bought an Apple Magic mouse, and that cost me €89. It's an Apple Magic Mouse 2 for €89, and I bought all that in a package because I heard that the dongles could be unreliable, and I wanted to buy it along with the computer so that it was covered by warranty. And I'd seen a few reviews about these Satechi ones, and they were mostly positive, and I've had only good experiences with it so far, so it's paid off. In total for that entire package I paid €1,397 for the whole lot. Now you could get a better deal than I got now probably. I bought my MacBook Air at a online retailer called Coolblue, and I know they're advertising MacBook Air now for around €100 cheaper, so around €1,020. So there's better deals out there if you look for them, and you don't have to buy these the Apple Magic 2 or this dongle. You can also shop around, but the reason I got that one was because I wanted reliability. I didn't want to invest all this money in a new setup only to find out after a couple of weeks that it's not working properly, and I have to go to the extra trouble of finding new stuff. So for those who are new to my channel, my name's Andrew Balcombe, and I make videos about making money online with your photos and videos, primarily through stock photography and stock videography. This is the #1 tool for helping me with my side hustle stock photography business. So if you want to help my channel out, just give this video a like, and that will help me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks very much for that. Okay, so now I'm just going to get into the pros and cons of what I've experienced after 4 months of use of the MacBook Air. I'm not a technical person, and as long as the computer does what I need it to do in a fast and easy way, I don't care how it does it. So let's get into the cons now. And one of the biggest cons I've noticed after using this MacBook Air for the last 4 months is that it, compared to the older Mac that I was using, it kind of lacks innovation regarding its style and design. Just from the basics, the color of it, it's kind of a drab grey. It's sort of brushed aluminium satin finish, but in comparison to this older MacBook Pro, it's got a much nicer finish, I think. And also, looking at the side of it, there's no need for these dongle things. I really don't like having to use these dongles, and my old MacBook Pro had 2 USB ports, an SD card port, and several other connections that I've forgotten the name of. but it was all there. I didn't have to add anything new to it, which is kind of clunky for such a new laptop that is so small and slim and light. And then you have to go and add this clunky thing onto it that could fall off or get knocked off, and takes away from the reliability of the MacBook Air. Yeah, Apple are all about streamlining its features, and it is streamlined in some regards, but what's the point in having this streamlined version of a TIE fighter when you've got this dongle on it that makes it look like a clunky old Millennium Falcon with, you know, the potential for it to fall off. So yeah, it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde setup where you get this really modern light design, but you have to whack a thing on the side of it that takes away all those aesthetics in one go. Well, the first pro is that I just love, for the price, that I've got everything I need for my photography and videography workflow in this package. I don't have to do anything else. It can do everything that I want it to do at a really good price. And that is the number one reason why I bought this. And after using it for 4 months, that is on top of my list as delivering what my expectations were, and it has delivered. So the latest version of Lightroom works perfectly with it. It's snappy and fast. The Rosetta software that's in this computer that helps it handle non-Apple software such as the Adobe products like Lightroom and Premiere Pro. It works fast and easy. You don't even know that it's like a proxy thing that has to do something with the software before you can use it. It is so fast and smooth. Premiere Pro, the latest version of Premiere Pro, works fast and seamlessly with this. I can edit now 4K clips created from my iPhone SE, which is 4K 60 frames a second, which can be really demanding. And it's just worked effortlessly on this computer. So my objective has been achieved. Okay, the next pro is the battery. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the battery life. And I could just sit in my chair and watch YouTube videos and surf the internet and do documents and other stuff like not Microsoft, but the Office functions. And I could genuinely use this computer without charging the battery for 2 days just doing that kind of stuff. Depending on how intensively you use it, of course. But if this was my old computer, then I would just have it plugged in so that it's constantly charging, especially when watching videos. Basically, the only time I have this laptop plugged in is when I'm editing or exporting videos for YouTube or stock photography or videography clips, and I just am going to be away from the computer, and I want to make sure that it's got constant power because I don't want it to go out at the wrong time, maybe in the middle of an export of a clip. Also, I could just pack this in my backpack with my camera and my lens and just go away for a day or two, and I don't have to pack any charger to go with it. If I'm just using this computer for maybe editing photos or looking at YouTube clips, if I'm away for the weekend, then I know that the battery will last and it won't go out when I need it the most. So the battery life is really good with this. It's a lot better than I expected, and you kind of get complacent by just picking up your laptop and starting to use it, and you see it's got half a battery left, and it's not a worry because you know you'll probably get another 4 or 5 hours at the least out of it. Whereas with the other MacBook Pro or MacBook Airs, it was a lot different story. Another pro is that it does not get hot. When I was using my old MacBook Pro and I'd be sitting down in my chair and I'd have it on my lap and I'd be editing something or watching a video, then I was kind of concerned that the muscles in my thighs were being slowly cooked. It sounds like a joke, but I was actually wondering if the heat from the laptop was slowly cooking the meat of my muscles in my legs. Thankfully, with this, it's really low heat. The only time I ever felt some kind of warmth coming from it was when I was exporting a 4K clip that was like 20 minutes long, and the computer seemed to be working a bit, and the only reason I could tell that it was working was there was some slight heat coming through, but that's the only time I've experienced it. And so the battery is really long life, and it does not give out a big heat signature. And also another pro with the MacBook Air is that it's pretty much silent. I don't hear anything working inside, whereas with this 11-year-old dinosaur, you could hear the fans running, and any kind of video file, or if you'd been on it a long time, those fans would be running, and not only would you hear it, but the person next to you could hear it as well. So that's a big pro. Another pro is the lightweightness, or the lightweight construction. It's small, being a 13-inch, which is what I want for its portability, so I could put it in my camera bag. And because it's light, I can put it in my camera bag with a camera and some lenses, and it's not going to give me any muscle aches and pains when I'm carrying it out in the field doing my wildlife photography, or if I just want to make a YouTube video out in the forest and I want to look up some stuff with my computer. Then it's really easy. It's just like taking an extra camera lens in your bag. It's so lightweight. The keyboard is also really easy to use. It doesn't fatigue my wrists or my hands when I'm using the keyboard. And the touchpad is really sensitive and intuitive as well. So that's really functional part of the laptop that I enjoy. So in conclusion, what do I think about this MacBook Air? Well, it's been the easiest financial decision I've had to make regarding my equipment. The MacBook Air promised speed and ease of use and reliability at not much cost, and it just totally delivered on that. So that is my layman's review of the MacBook Air from a stock photographer and videographer's point of view. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!